Oklahoma City opened the Timberwolves versus Thunder series like a team in total control. The pace, the movement, the energy, it all leaned their way. Their offense flowed, their defense swarmed, and Minnesota looked more reactive than ready. It felt like the Wolves were trying to survive, not compete. But Game 3 flipped everything. The rhythm broke, the intensity shifted, and that 42-point blowout, it wasn't random. It was calculated, aggressive, and loud enough to shake the series awake. So now, the real questions begin. Was that blowout just a spark or the start of a wildfire? Can the Thunder recover or have the Wolves taken control for good? Stick around, because this series is far from finished. Through the first two games, Oklahoma City looked exactly like the team everyone feared. Young, fast, efficient, and fearless. In Game 1, they held Minnesota to under 90 points and made their defense look flat-footed. In Game 2, they lit up the scoreboard again and built a 2-0 lead that had analysts leaning toward a quick finish. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was putting on a clinic. Jalen Williams was consistent and effective. Their role players were stepping up, and the Wolves just didn't seem to have a counter. But then came Game 3, and everything the Thunder built in the first two games was tested. Minnesota responded not just with urgency, but with execution. They scored 143 points, won by 42, and played like they had something to prove. This wasn't a team trying to survive. This was a team throwing a punch. Game 3 wasn't close at any point. From the opening tip, Minnesota's intensity was different. Their defense was active, their offense flowed, and suddenly, the Thunder's confidence started to look a little shaky. This wasn't just about getting a win, it was about flipping the series narrative. And the Timberwolves did just that. With the series now sitting at 2-1, it no longer feels like Oklahoma City is in control. It feels like we're in the middle of a full-blown chess match. At the center of Minnesota's resurgence is Anthony Edwards. He's not just putting up numbers, he's evolving into a leader right in front of us. In Game 3, he dropped 30 points with 9 rebounds and 6 assists. But that stat line doesn't fully capture his impact. He was vocal, aggressive, fearless. Every time the Thunder tried to close a gap, Edwards answered. He didn't shy away from the moment he lived in it. But it wasn't just him. Julius Randle had one of his best games of the postseason with 24 points. He created space, attacked mismatches, and gave the Timberwolves a second offensive anchor. Suddenly, the Thunder couldn't just focus on Edwards. They had to deal with a full offensive package. On the Thunder side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had been dominant in the first two games. He scored 38 in Game 2, showing the full range of his scoring ability: mid-range pull-ups, floaters, drives, drawing fouls. But in Game 3, the Timberwolves threw different defensive looks at him: blitzes, traps, help rotations, and it worked. He finished with just 14 points, and for the first time in this postseason, looked uncomfortable. Jalen Williams remains one of the most consistent pieces for OKC. He's averaging over 19 points per game in the playoffs and continues to contribute on both ends. But Minnesota's defensive strategy started limiting his rhythm too, and when both your primary and secondary scorers are being forced into tough spots, the whole offense starts to stall. These matchups aren't just highlight reels, they're battles. Edwards versus Shai, Randle versus Williams. It's turning into a war of wills, and that's exactly what a playoff series should be. Injuries haven't dominated the storyline, but they're quietly influencing how deep each team can go. For the Thunder, Nikola Topic is out for the remainder of the season with an ACL injury. While he wasn't the centerpiece of the rotation, his absence shrinks their depth, especially in high-pressure minutes. It limits OKC's flexibility in small ball lineups and puts more pressure on their starters to play heavy minutes without rest. Minnesota, on the other hand, is playing at full strength. No major injuries, no missing contributors. That matters in a series like this, especially when pace and physicality are ramping up. Having fresh legs, rotational flexibility, and players who can step in without a drop-off, it gives the Timberwolves a subtle but real edge moving forward. Game 3 was about more than just effort. It was about smart, targeted adjustments. Minnesota didn't just play harder, they played smarter. They started sending early doubles at Shai, forcing him to make decisions under pressure. They clogged the lanes, shut down his space, and made sure he wasn't getting easy switches. Every screen was met with a hedge. Every drive had help waiting. Offensively, they stopped settling. Ball movement improved, off-ball cuts opened up space, and the Timberwolves punished the Thunder from beyond the arc. It wasn't one guy taking over, it was a system working in sync. Players like Mike Conley and Naz Reid gave crucial minutes, and the ball didn't stick in anyone's hands. And then there's Terrence Shannon Jr. The rookie doesn't have the resume, but he brought the kind of energy you don't game plan for. He made hustle plays, got transition points, and kept OKC's bench on their heels. He's not going to lead the team in scoring, but in a tight series, it's often those unscripted moments that tip the scale. Now the pressure's on Oklahoma City to respond. Will they adjust? Will they trap Edwards earlier? Will they find better off-ball movement to free up Shai and Jalen? Because one more game like Game 3, and this series might not belong to them anymore. Momentum is one of those things you can't measure, but you can feel. After Game 2, the Thunder looked poised, confident, and unshaken. Now, they've been hit in the mouth, and how they respond in Game 4 will tell us everything about their composure. Minnesota has belief now. That matters. They've proven they can not only hang with the #1 seed, they can dominate when things click, and they have every reason to think they've figured something out. There's still plenty of basketball left, but the betting world is already reacting. The odds have narrowed. Pundits who were calling this a 5-game series are now talking about Game 7 potential. Even those who still pick OKC are saying the Thunder need to reclaim the tempo before it's too late. The pressure's shifting, and that changes everything. Basketball isn't just about talent or strategy. In the playoffs, it becomes something deeper. It's about who bends under pressure and who thrives in it. After dominating the first 2 games, Oklahoma City looked bulletproof. They were playing loose, confident, even a little cocky, and that kind of energy is contagious until someone punches back. Game 3 was that punch, and it landed hard. That loss didn't just hurt the scoreboard, it messed with the Thunder's rhythm. Suddenly, shots weren't falling as easily. Rotations felt a step slow. The swagger turned into silence, and now they're being asked a question they haven't had to answer all postseason. How do you respond when you get knocked flat? Minnesota, meanwhile, feels like they found something real. That Game 3 win wasn't just about points, it was about belief. They looked around at each other and knew they could win this series. That kind of confidence can fuel a run, but confidence is a fragile thing. One bad quarter in Game 4, and that fire could flicker out just as quickly as it sparked. That's what makes this next game so dangerous for both sides. It's not just a battle of X's and O's anymore, it's a battle between belief and doubt. And in the playoffs, that's often what separates the teams who move on from the ones who fold. What started as a one-sided affair is now a war between 2 teams that refuse to back down. The Thunder came in with control, but the Timberwolves just flipped the table. One more win from Minnesota, and this series isn't just competitive, it's wide open. Game 4 isn't just another chapter, it's the turning point. So, who takes the lead? Who figures it out faster? Who bends? And who breaks? Drop your thoughts in the comments who's winning this series and why. And if you love basketball stories like this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your crew, and make sure to tap that bell icon.